listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Homeland After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Homeland After Show.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Biggest for doing it. We are here doing another AfterBuzz TV after show for hit Showtime drama Homeland. This is season 2, episode 4, entitled "New Car Smell." I'm your host, John Comerford. I'm joined in the studio by the indisputable Jenna Bush.
Hello.
And also the irrefutable Roth Cornett.
Hello.
And got to think of one quick, the incontestable Thaddeus Massey.
Hello. I like incontestable.
That's right.
I like that the theme is that we are not to be disagreed with.
That's right. And I won't be disagreeing with you at all. So,
we're quite terrifying.
Interesting show. A little bit of a departure from the other shows of this season. This one was kind of a lot of setup. And then that last sequence, which we will, of course, want to get into heavily later. Yeah, go ahead, Roth.
Bam.
Well said. I can't refute that at all.
No.
So, what do we think of our new guy? We got introduced to Peter Quinn.
And I just looked him up. The actor's name is Rupert Friend.
Of course it is.
Rupert
Friend. I love this character. I don't know, and I think that probably some people will imagine that it's because he looks alarmingly like Orlando Bloom,
Which is true, yes.
but it's really because I'm finding. I think that, listen, as we saw at the end of this episode, which we're not going to talk about just yet, but the dynamic between Carrie and our beloved Brody, by beloved I mean we love the character, is now coming to its conclusion. I mean, I don't know where we're going to go too much from here. So this guy, I think, is going to be a good counter, like a good foil for her.
Was it the Brody Carrie relationship? Isn't this the boy loses girl part of it? Maybe I think
it feels
Yeah.
strikingly like the boy loses girl and goes to Guantanamo Bay portion of that particular love story. Yeah,
which is like every love story.
A sack over his head.
Yeah. Talk about really being in the doghouse.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, talk about, and I mean, did you guys not? I know we're already there, huh? You can't help it because it was just so great.
This is going to be very freeform today's podcast. So go ahead.
But did you find in that moment when he had that put over his head, the bag put over his head, you just got to think this man has got to be totally freaking out with flashbacks.
Not again.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Flashbacks for when he was kidnapped.
Sure.
Yeah. I thought that was well done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too because I think maybe this isn't the end of the story.
Okay.
I think they may put him in. They may use him. It's possible. That they could use him and say you don't want to go on trial publicly, then you got to lead us back to people.
Right. And
maybe it's not just interrogation. Maybe they actually do put him back.
Turn him back to the
go for the head of that
side.
snake.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
It looks,
Yeah, I mean that could definitely be true, but they'd have to have eyes and ears on him at all times because he's obviously not to be trusted. But I thought that final scene between the two of them was pretty magical.
Oh my God.
Those were some intense.
A woman scorned.
Well. You know,
Our resident expert on women scorn. That is
I mean, not just, he really ruined her entire life there.
Yeah.
You know, he really destroyed, I mean, it's not like that's something that sometimes I think people say and they feel that way in a relationship, like, oh, you ruined my life. No, he really ruined her entire life. I mean, she was electroshock therapy, you know, totally lost her job, lost her credibility, lost everything due to his lies and deceit. And I think also, and the thing that we've said previously about Carrie is that she's not kidding around about her job. I mean, she really believes when she says to him, you're a disgrace to your country, you're a terrorist and you're a traitor, she is not kidding. She really means that. She's totally committed to her path in life. She thinks it's disgusting. And she doesn't really care that it's because he was brainwashed and abused for 8 years. I mean, I think that that's the one area of Carrie's life where she is crystal clear about her her point of view.
Yeah. At the same time, she did sleep with him while still believing that he's a terrorist, which is something I wanted to bring up because she's got a really interesting. She has interesting taste in men. Because
that's a nice model of putting it, Jenna.
Please, do tell.
It's a gentle way to put it. But I mean, she thinks while she sleeps with him last season, she still believes that he's a terrorist and falls in love with him after watching him in a creepy, creepy way. Whether it was her job or not, it was still creepy. But and then she's still in love with him, but I think it was his act against her that set her off. Now we have Peter Quinn, who Rolf and I, being women, I think
we're paying attention closely.
They were flirting.
Oh, they were, and I would
they
go
thought it was on between the two of them.
Oh, absolutely,
absolutely. I think that was beyond flirting. That was some CIA foreplay.
Oh, absolutely,
CIA style.
Now, did you pick that up? Did you think that?
Yeah, they were flirting, but at the same time, it was also part of the operation. I mean, remember, Roya Hamad was like, look, you need to find out what's going on. Well, he said to her, I need to find out what's going on. There's definitely a play here. She's all of a sudden.
No, we're talking about Peter and Carrie.
Yeah,
not Brody and Carrie.
Yeah,
Peter and Carrie.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, okay. I'm not on this team yet.
Yeah, okay. So,
I wasn't there either.
No, but you know what the thing is? He was mean to her. He was really nasty to her, but she has this sort of twisted sense. And my feeling is she's somebody who doesn't believe that she deserves a good person.
Right.
So she goes after all of these people who allow her to still feel bad about herself.
Yeah.
So she did it with like, oh, well, he's a terrorist. That could never actually go anywhere. And same thing with this guy's an ass. So
that was really
wow,
funny.
he's hot. You know?
I think, though, like what she said to Brody right there, when she knelt down and she said if these had been alarmingly different circumstances, you know, she really would have loved him because, like we've said previously, it felt a lot like these were the only two people in the world that could understand one another to some degree. And I think that she's got the thing with Peter, and that was interesting about the episode for me, is I really just didn't trust him the whole time. I felt really uncomfortable with him. I didn't know what he was up to, if he was going to somehow try and, if Estes was going to try and pull a fast one and hurt Carrie to some degree or put her in a compromised position. But no, he didn't do that. So I think
because I still don't trust him.
He's still in, I still don't trust him either. So something is still in play. But I think you're right that her part of her disease. I mean, this is two parts. The interesting thing about her is that part of her disease is that she is a little bit paranoid. And so when she's going, no, I saw it in her eyes, saw it in his eyes, I saw it in his eyes.
Yeah.
We as the audience at this point are going, did she? Because she's been right about him so far, or is she blowing this operation for no good reason at this point? That's one thing. And the second thing is she's incredibly attracted, like you say, to dangerous things and all the wrong things for her.
Right.
Yep.
And Saul didn't see it. Peter didn't see it. Did anybody? I didn't didn't see it in that bar exchange. I didn't see it.
They're watching him on camera. First of all, they're watching him on camera.
Right.
She has a relationship with him and knows him in a manner and way in which nobody else does.
Right.
And you know the way they've become intimate with each other. Obviously, she would be able to pick up on the slightest nuances that would set off.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just asking, did you guys see anything? Because I didn't see anything. Because I thought it was perfectly normal that somebody would be upset about somebody asking about your electroconvulsive therapy.
Yeah, well, the only thing I didn't see it there where she said it. I saw it when he got up so quickly.
Yeah.
That's when I was like, oh, he knows something. Something's going on because there's no way.
See, but when he was when he goes back into the hotel room and after he's drinking the water, I thought he was thinking, man, I was supposed to get back in some sort of relationship with her. That's what Roya thinks I should do, and then I didn't. I thought he was thinking I thought he was thinking I blew that with her. Not that I know something's up. I was thinking he was thinking that.
I think I think that I was thinking he either felt that or that he was confused about whether to trust her or not. Because I mean, we have to remember that the only time that he's known her, she's been after him, after Brody. She's totally disgraced as far as he can see. Nobody in the agency can trust her. She's lost her job. And then all of a sudden she shows up. It was supposed to scare him. It was supposed to make him think that they were on to him to some degree. And then in that moment, would she have blown it in that moment? I'm not sure. You know, we don't know what's tipping the other one off to the other. And to your point is that once people have been intimate, they get certain cues, you know, that not everyone else would see. So maybe he did get that something was off in that moment. But yeah, it would be perfectly natural to be pissed if someone's egging you on about that experience.
Yes.
Another thing, just something I want to point out. As he's sitting in the bar with a woman that he had all of this, he has this history with, and he's a congressman in a very public hotel. When he signs in, they know who he is. I'm thinking maybe that was stupid. Just, does that seem like off in some way? Like, if you're going to have some sort of assignation, maybe you don't do it at a public bar.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's why he did it in a public bar. So there's nothing untoward. I'm in a bar in public. I'm not trying to do anything clandestine here.
But anyone who saw him, I mean, he's staying in a hotel and he's meeting another woman in a bar, and he's a politician.
Right.
That never ends well.
I think. Well, I'm sure it happens and ends.
Better if
however
you just tweet something to her.
Well, I'm sure.
That's a bad idea.
Send a text.
I think politicians are probably meeting lots of ladies in lots of bars all the time.
It could have been an interview. She could have worked for a paper. No one knows, you know, as long as nothing was happening there at the bar that would have seemed it. You know, it could have.
After he publicly didn't show up, car trouble or not, at a thing that his wife was holding, and she publicly says the stuff about intimacy.
But what else is he going to do? I mean, if the game plan is, as he discussed with Roya, get back in relationship with her, how's he going to do that without? I mean, what other way to do that?
Well,
First contact, meet in a public place. I have not done this. I'm just saying. If it
Other
were
than
me,
a bar, you're saying.
Right,
that
like
to me is
where
a public
there are
place.
a lot of. Well, there wasn't anyone in that bar. It was just them.
He's not thinking clearly.
Yeah.
That's what I took it as.
He's drinking. He's having issues at home. He's not thinking clearly.
I just took it as he's unraveling at this point because he's killed. You know, he's killed this man. Roya's talking to him about it in the middle of the hallway.
Kind of stupid.
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden, Carrie's back, and I don't know that this was played up necessarily in the episode, but I just kind of was thinking, oh, he's totally going to be unraveling at this point.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and everywhere was that because the wife kicked him out. Mike was there when he wasn't. Dana certainly gave him the brush off in the car. So not anywhere he's going, he's getting nothing.
So remember, she's like right now at this moment, his only source or like a recourse of comfort or support that he's familiar with.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, just like you said, John. Jessica's kicked him out. Dana's giving him the cold shoulder. You know, so she's pretty much just like, oh, well, let me call Carrie. I need to get this information anyway and see what's going on. And then he did make her. He did, because he touched on some sensitive subjects, and he knows her and how she responded to the electro charge therapy or whatever was. It was evident that he was still trying to, what are you working on? Oh, I can't say a name, no names. You know, she can't tell him anything, but he's figured it out. It's like, okay, this is not going to be.
He egged her on after she mentioned Abu Nazir.
Yeah.
You know, and he's probably trying to feel her back. You know, she's egging him on and trying to get a response out of him by saying, oh, I'm circling Abu Nazir. And then he's probably trying to find out, like, how much do you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, let's remind you of all the ways that I effed you over.
See, I felt by leaving, that would tip her off the way he did. So.
Yeah, and I think so.
So that's why I don't think it. I honestly don't think he got anything from her. I think he was just leaving. I didn't get that. I still don't believe that. I sensed something's weird with her. I'm out of here. I didn't get that.
This is not specific to this that moment, but I have to point out the shot as they first saw each other and passing on the other side, opposite sides of that monument. I thought that was really cool and well shot.
I didn't see it.
But at the CIA at Langley.
Oh, that.
When
I thought you meant the bar.
When they first.
That was terrific.
I love that scene.
Shot.
You know, I thought she had played her cards in her hands so well and so beautifully in that scene. And I think that's why Carrie's such an interesting character, because she's amazing at what she does, but she's
until
just
she flies off the handle.
Right, until she goes crazy.
Until she flies off the handle, and she's just such a live wire. I love that moment with Saul. You know, how many times do you have to tell her something?
Yeah. A lot. Because I thought when she went up to the room, I thought she was going to play it as she was just going to try to bed him.
Yeah.
And then try to make, throw him off kilter that way. Yeah, because I thought, well, that worked one time. Let's do it again. I didn't think for a second she was going to confront him with all that. I just went, what are you doing?
Well, it seemed like, I mean, I guess like at that point they, you know, they're like, she's blown it. It's over. It's done. You know, and she may be, because she says to him, we only have a few more minutes alone, knowing they're about to break this room down, kiddo.
Yeah.
But she was going on a great tack. Why'd you give me the room number? I can only. And then I was like, well, that was working. Why did you go with that? Why change tactics then?
The other her got pissed off.
Yeah, that was it.
The other her.
I couldn't tell her.
Woman scorned.
Woman scorned.
Yeah, no, I couldn't actually tell in that moment if she somehow understood that they weren't going to let that fly. Because the thing is, if you're Saul and you saw him, and I actually thought that was talking about relationships, that was such a fatherly, beautiful moment when he leans in and he goes, get away from her, you know, when Brody starts to approach her. If you're Saul and you understand what a powder keg this situation is, this is a man who had on a vest and was going to kill 20 people or however many people, you're not letting her be alone with him. You're not letting her be alone with him in that hotel room and letting them get intimate and take the risk that in the middle of sex he's going to break her neck. You know what I mean? Like, if you're Saul and she knows Saul is watching, you're going to have them break that up.
Yeah.
It's too late. It's over.
And they already ordered her back to headquarters anyway. So it's kind of like...
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I think she sort of, though I most certainly did not see that coming. Her just dumping that all of a sudden. I thought they were going to play this out a lot longer. Yeah. But I guess if you're Carrie and you realize like you're not really going to get your job back at the CIA, you're here for this moment. You really have nothing to lose by doing this and everything to gain. And you don't. The last thing that you want in the world is this guy to slip out of your fingers again. Yeah. You know, like how.
So she's also not. She's forcing everybody's hand at this point.
Yes, she's forcing.
She just wants him arrested. In some way.
Yep.
But I'm also going, well, what is she thinking, that if she didn't do this, he'd go underground? Is that is she really thinking that?
I think that her fear was, okay, if we don't do this right now, right this second, I've tipped him off. He's going to go underground. Abu Nazir is going to go underground. We're going to lose everything, every opportunity, and I'm going to lose out on nailing this guy.
But also, okay, let's say that she tips the hand. First of all, you can't go underground. Well, you can go underground in terms of whatever plan they're hatching at this point. But it's not like he's going to go anywhere. So they're always going to keep tabs on him.
Well, they're going to keep tabs on him, but if they decide to go dark, then he's not going to contact anyone.
Right, but whatever plan they had would be thwarted to that degree anyway.
Right, but then she personally has lost her vindication. He's not been arrested.
Yeah, but that's what I thought it was really kind of a way, just an incredibly selfish moment.
Oh, sure.
Very little to do with patriotism. I think she just wanted to lay into
Some guy ruined my life. I'd be happy to do this. Very same thing. It's fine. I would call the CIA.
Woman scorned, get away.
Sure. Well, I mean, but even anyone would, male or female. I mean, I think that's what Peter is saying. If this person had me go through what you went through, I'd skin him alive. And she says, that's the. He almost kind of egged her on.
She said that's the plan.
Yeah, and she certainly read it that way. I know we'll keep coming back to this moment, but I wanted to talk about Dana and Xander and Finn. I don't know. Okay. So she's sort of, the reason I bring it up is because she's sort of doing the same kind of cheating thing that her father did.
Yeah, I'm with you on this.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
She's studying.
She kissed him.
They're
she
in
has
high
a boyfriend.
They are in high school.
Doesn't matter.
All Xander wants to do is get high, and
so
then
the line
she's
for her
studying
is kind
with
of
the other guy.
Right. I'm
with you.
Okay.
It's very
Doesn't matter.
interesting. He's hanging out at the tree stump asking if you want to get stoned.
Countries have fallen from a kiss.
And then
yes, they have.
You know, what's his name? Finn?
Yes.
Finn.
Same name as my dog.
Same name as your dog.
Yep.
And he is a dog.
Exactly. And he's kissing her, and he kissed her.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't.
She let him.
She
kissed back.
She let him, but she did. She cut it.
Yes, she did.
She could have been a little sleaze.
And she said, let me talk to the boyfriend first.
Exactly. So at least she had enough decency to say, look, I'm not going to be that girl.
Oh, like she didn't know what was going to happen when they were going up to the Washington Monument. Please.
I know,
well, Well, Dad took things a little bit further than Miss Dana did.
Absolutely.
But also, too, I mean, I thought it was interesting. Like, we have Dana's breaking up. Dana's sort of had it with the track that she was on in her life. She's like, why do I really need to be getting high? And it's funny, in that moment, I thought, I think this is what, parents sort of wish their kid would do, is like awaken to the sense of maturity. Like, oh, well, getting high isn't going to help. And I'm like, I don't know if a 15-year-old really has that kind of wisdom, but okay, I'll buy it.
A 15-year-old who uses the word rube.
Right.
That uses the word rube.
But they go to college preparatory schools. They have the best education.
Nobody uses rube anymore.
So.
Well, I went to a preparatory school like that, and people use the word rube, but it doesn't mean they stop smoking up. When they didn't suddenly awaken one day and realize it wasn't going to help anyway.
Yeah.
But anyway, not that I did anything. Obviously, I was an angel. But I did think that it was like an interesting parallel. Like, her mother had sort of had it, Jess had it with the lies that were being told, and she had it with this inauthentic life that wasn't working for her. And then Dana's never a fan of BS. I know people have a problem with this character. I really like her.
I like her too.
Yeah.
I like what she said to the vice president to defend her friend. When she was like, "Well, I guess her future boyfriend." When she said, "I guess the gentleman's C doesn't work like in your day." But I thought it was an interesting parallel. Like, Mom has had it, and so she's going back with Mike, who's maybe a better fit for her, and Dana's had it with this other path that she was on, and she's now going to head towards Finn. So it's kind of a fun cross parallel. But yeah, I guess she's also taking and she's not falling far from that. She's the apple not falling far from the dad's tree either, and that she's cheating a little bit.
I liked how she checked her dad, though. Like, she told him, it's like, what do you expect? She's been on her mom's case, and it shows some objectivity that she's not just biased towards her dad. And she told him, she was like, look,
but she seems to have no problem.
Like,
she doesn't have any problem embarrassing her mom. Why is she pissed off that her dad did it?
Because I think
she understands the dynamic of them being.
She doesn't do it publicly.
No, she doesn't.
No,
when did she ever publicly do that?
When she opens her mouth in front of people.
No, but when? Tell me when.
You talking about Dana?
Dana will mouth off to her mother for sure.
But not in public.
She hasn't done that. And in front of 200 people, knowing how important this night was to her, Dana has a really...
I'm not arguing that she doesn't do that. What I'm saying is she can treat her mom like crap, but as soon as her dad does, she's upset about it.
She's a teenager.
That's my point. It's like, well, I don't think she's that great of a gal.
I just disagree with you. I feel like she has a really strong sense of right and wrong. She doesn't like BS. And when she's upset with her mom, it's because she's being full of BS. When she's upset with her dad, it's for the same reason. She's consistently has the same problem with people, is that when she thinks they're full of it. Right. And she didn't embarrass her mom in public. She went to the event to support her. When she was at the vice presidential tea, she kind of like behaved, or like, she behaved with the lady vice president. What?
Second lady.
Second lady. Thank you.
Second lady.
Wow, that was a mind blank for a moment. But she really. I have not seen her do things to embarrass her mom in public, and she has a really strong sense of right and wrong.
Yeah, except for the fact that she treats her mom like crap. So
I don't see that.
But she's a teenager.
I don't. That doesn't give her a pass. If she's that bright and that smart, she knows she can still call people on their BS without treating her like shit.
No, because she's a kid, and honestly, you are supposed to not necessarily treat your parents like crap, but you are supposed to launch, and you are supposed to rebel against them. Otherwise, you end up in their basement until you're 40. It's. Right. I just don't
agree that the only way that you can do that is being rude to your mom.
I was a 15-year-old girl, so I think it's just part of being a teenager.
I think she's a little shit.
Also, my mom's watching this.
Just call it. The reason I like Dana, I think Dana calls it how it is. She calls it how she sees it, and she, to me, is the definition of people not is preaching or acting, talking the talk. You're gonna walk the walk, talk the talk. It's like, we teach our kids all these things, and then we go and do the exact opposite. Yeah. You do this, and then you're gonna do this, and you're gonna be all righteous, and blah 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 blah, and then you're not doing it, and kids see that. Yeah. So it's basically be held accountable for your actions and what you say, and that she's pretty much like the conscience of the show. You know, every time something happens, she calls her dad on it. She calls her mom on it.
The vice president, she doesn't care.
Yeah, she doesn't care. And it's kind of like, you know, don't think because you're such and such that you're my mom or you're my dad or you're the VP that you're not a human being and you're not supposed to be held accountable for, you know, what you represent.
I agree.
Teach one thing and then say one thing and do another. And I think she epitomizes that.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about her character.
I agree with you. She does, and she is consistent about it. And I guess, too, where I don't totally agree is I could see that she's been a little bit bratty, but I don't think she's been so terrible either. You know, she really hasn't been so horrible to either of her parents.
I think she's the conscious of the show.
Yeah, I do too.
She is, and also, I mean, even though she is 15, she has been through a lot. She's been through what she thought was the death of her father.
Right.
She's been through her mom having a new relationship. She's been through her father coming back. She found out secrets about him. She sees her parents' marriage falling apart.
Right.
So she's gone through a lot for a 15-year-old. So
Is she 15?
I think she's.
I'm just making that up.
She's roughly 15 or 16. She's in her mid-teens, I guess, and it's a stage that's very challenging for most people and most parents with them. You know, I think so. Like, I don't think that portion of it is that unusual. I really do like this character. But anyway, we don't.
Right. No. Well, hey guys, have you noticed
He would lock her in the basement. Shut up!
The people who seem to know the truth about Brody are all crazy. Because you've got Carrie, and then also,
I don't know if he's crazy. He's just drunk.
And who?
Lauder.
Lauder.
Yeah.
Now Lauder.
He's a little crazy. He's crazy and drunk.
Yeah,
I
crazy
think.
and drunk. I'm gonna go with both. I mean, he just bursts into Jessica's house like.
That's a little crazy. And Jessica is probably like, why are all these lunatics coming in and out of my house talking about my husband?
But you know what? I kind of like this. And the reason I kind of like it is because there are so many conspiracy theorists that are out there in actuality. And all the conspiracy nutcases on the show
are right.
Exactly. So it makes you think that somebody who might have this off-the-wall idea of something that's going on may actually be based in some...
to all our paranoia.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting, except that Mike and Lauder now are deciding that Brody was working for the CIA, which I think how that portion of... They're wrong, you know, but how that portion of their paranoia is going to play out will be fun to watch.
If nothing else, it's great that it's got Mike questioning things.
Yeah, Mike had that look on his face.
He's a sane guy, so I don't know how far he's going to go into the... into that paranoia.
But he can't know the truth unless you're crazy.
But I'm sure he wants Brody to be wrong because he wants Jess. You know, he wants that to be over and done with, and he wants to go back. I mean, how long were they together? They were together for a couple of years. They were getting ready to...
2, wasn't it?
About 2 years. They were getting ready to get really serious.
She was going to announce it to the kids.
She was going to announce it to the kids. So he's probably just excited about the idea of getting Brody out of the picture to some degree. I mean, that selfish kernel of him, I know he's probably conflicted because he's, you know, doesn't want to be a jerk about it, and they were friends.
And it's a code because they're Marines, so it really goes beyond just them being buddies. It's kind of deep. So you can't just discredit the guy beyond wanting to have Jessica and wanting to be with her, and it's a serious situation.
Yeah.
And that's why I don't think he's ready to confront it. I think, you know, part of Lauder's physical breakdown, you know, when you come to the realization is like, look, I don't have a position in the world, you know, his disability, I believe, has got him crippled emotionally as well. As you can see, he, you know, buries his emotions in liquor and gets drunk or whatever. It probably makes him look at some things like just pretty much how it is. So that's pretty much all he has right now, to look at the realities of what's really going on. Whereas everybody else shrouds things in BS.
Yeah.
Everybody else is dealing with
self-preservation.
Exactly. They're trying to achieve and they're trying to gain status and whatever other circumstantial things that are going on with their situation always plays a factor. Whereas he is just... He's just Lauder. He goes to the bar, and it's like he sees everything from outside the box, kind of like Dana. Dana sees everything from outside the box because, in essence, she's
Dana doesn't care about the box.
Adult. She's not an adult, but so she's crippled to a degree based on the things she can do and what her power really is because she's a kid. So she's just kind of calling it how she sees it. This is what it is.
I think she's I think she's actually, because she's a kid and she doesn't have like the amassed fears that we have as adults about, you know, how offending the wrong person and affecting our careers and being beholden to people for our careers and all of these other things that we get twisted up about as adults. She's free of all of that. And so she's free because she's like, I don't care.
Right.
You can't do anything to me because you have no real power in my life, and she's just fearless that way. But I think what's interesting.
The same way.
Well,
what are you gonna do to me? Besides,
what are you gonna
kill me?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already crippled. Like, what are you gonna do?
But another thing that's kind of interesting that just is occurring to me now is that, you know, the show is kind of like this microcosm for bigger things in the world and looking at homeland security and looking at terrorism and all these things, and it does it through these individual characters. But this is kind of, we talked about conspiracy theorists. This is kind of what's interesting is that, you know, attack happens on the United States, Homeland Security steps in and does X amount of things. And I think we're going to be able to see if they are, you know, I think we're going to be able to question some of their methods with Brody, you know, as much as we know they're right and they have to get this guy. I think we're going to be able to question some of the methods coming up here. I hope so.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
But what's
same
cool
kinds of
about
things
that?
when he was in prison.
But what's cool about that is that we're also now going to have this little microcosm of these conspiracy theorists in Lauder who's like, no, it was really the government who did it all along. And the government's like, we didn't do it. You know what I mean? Like, it was the CIA the whole time, you know? And they're like, what? It was not the CIA.
It's like a partiality of the truth. It's like you get some of it, but not all of it. So it doesn't even seem crazy. That's what makes them seem crazy.
And I think that's a new cool element, kind of, because that does reflect something that happens in our world where there are conspiracy theorists who take things to like the nth degree and are like, actually the government planned it the whole time, you know.
But they did.
Okay.
9/11.
You know, you see all of the mistakes that they made that let Brody slip through the cracks in the first place.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. You guys, I know I wasn't here last week because I was at Comic-Con, but the week before
Oh, she dropped that. Let me pick that up for you.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Oh, no, because that doesn't get me anything other than y'all know I'm a nerd. No, but one of the things, I was really hard on Jessica, and I know that we were talking about this before the show. And I think Jessica actually showed real sort of humanity this week with like, don't mess with me. And it wasn't about what she needed. It was no longer about like, I want to claw my way to the top. It was, I don't care about that. I just want the marriage to work.
Right. Well, this is funny because actually we got a comment on the iTunes who somebody was
and thank you very much for the comment.
Thank you for the comment, but somebody was very, very, very upset and angry with me because they said that I was a bully about Jessica. Well, 3 things about that. I sort of, it's funny because last week I had said that I swear to you before I read this comment, last week I had said to you that Jessica, last week I felt better about her because it seemed to me that she all of a sudden was trying to live an authentic life, and I really appreciated that because that had been my problem with her. So 2, but I have to say that I'm not going to change my editorial opinion because someone disagrees with me, but I do agree that I do feel better about Jessica now, so that's really authentic on my part, that shift. However, I will say this, we have to remember, you guys, and I really appreciate the comment, I really appreciate the passion, and we feel really passionately about this show too, and I will definitely listen to the idea of I'm looking at my approach to discussing things, but we have to remember that these are fictional characters, and this isn't a real lady that I would actually be mean to in real life.
Oh no, I think they were that you were bullying the rest of us.
Oh, that I was bullying you guys.
I'm just kidding. Because
they did say, I was like,
what did I miss?
They said that I was bullying Jessica, and I was like, you know, but she's not a real person. But I mean, I appreciate the comment, but like, I just thought it was kind of interesting because we are real people that read these comments, and sometimes people feel free to say all kinds of things, nice things, which we appreciate, and things that are constructive, and then sometimes kind of bananas things. Not this person; they were very cool in this comment about Jessica.
But we get the gamut.
But you get the gamut, and I just think it's really important to remember that these are fictional characters, and the critique is really not about a real person. It's just kind of like, I think it's highlighting something about the show. Okay, enough. I like her more now too. So legitimate. Having said all that, legitimately.
But that's what we like about the commenting, because that adds to the conversation. Anytime we get people rating and commenting that can add to the conversation, that's what we really appreciate.
We really do.
Want to further the conversation.
Absolutely.
We started here right after the show airs, so we love it that you continue it. So please keep going to iTunes and downloading and rating and commenting.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
We want your feedback because that helps us here to keep doing what we do and keep bringing you this comment. All we ask is that you not only download those things, but tell a friend, have them part of the conversation, bring them into this because it's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I mean, again, to be fair, like the person obviously took issue with what I was saying, but I thought it was cool to see their passion, and I think it does spark an interesting conversation about the character, who I agree, starting with last week and then I was very proud of her this week that she really stuck to her guns and was like, I refuse to pursue something that's inauthentic for me anymore.
And she furthered that this week because, you know, she held a hard line with him.
She
Look,
did.
if you're not going to tell me something honest right now,
I love that she said that. Because, I mean, the truth is, like, as a human, I can, you know, what you were saying before, Thaddeus, about Dana, I can really relate to all of those fears just in my daily life with my bosses and people that I work with and my colleagues, and like worrying about, you know, saying the wrong thing to damage my career and things like that. I think those are really natural fears to have, and you wish, or I wish, that I could be like Dana and be that person that was just like, forget it, I'm just gonna say this because it's the truth all the time.
You have the ability to bully people, so you'd be able to do that.
Stop calling me a bully, it makes me feel bad.
You bully fake people.
I do
bully fake people. That's been her Twitter. That's been her Twitter bio. I'm raw.
I bully fake people.
Bully fake people.
I bully fictional characters.
I bully fictional characters.
And I thought it was really interesting. We're going back to Jessica here. Because since she held the hard line with him, she said, "Look, tell me something sincere, or get out," which I thought was great. But I'm just wondering what you guys think. How much of it is, I want him out of here, or is it, I kind of like Mike better?
No, I think she really had it.
I think she was done.
I think he should have said something. He should have given her something. I was like, tell her something.
Yeah.
Tell her.
Make something.
Again,
something.
Really
give her a bone.
You thought he should make something up.
No, not necessarily. He doesn't have to tell her everything, obviously, but he could give her enough for her to nibble on.
But here's the thing: I'm wondering.
You know,
but
that's
what
his
was
wife.
he thinking?
He wanted to save his family, like, dude.
And did he want to get out?
Yeah.
So you guys think that?
Yeah.
Did you think that then? Or are you just thinking that?
I mean, I think he's wanted to get out since he's been back.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing is, if he does get out, like if he and his wife are going through a divorce, that sort of puts a damper on the.
That's what I'm saying. It's like the whole
career.
big plan is, no, I need the wife, the thing, I need that whole happening.
I don't think he wants out.
I think he's incredibly conflicted because he can't. I mean, listen, the guy is had a rough time of it, and he's got a lot of confusion, I think, about in any given moment you don't know. I mean, this similar to Carrie, you don't know what Brody's going to do. Brody doesn't know what Brody's going to do in any given moment.
Still going moment to moment on this thing.
And I think, listen, if you're living this massive lie, the only person that knew the truth about him, and he couldn't even confess it to her, was Carrie, you know? And if you're living this massive, massive lie and your wife says, tell me something true or get out, how do you half tell her you're a terrorist? I mean, what bone can you give?
You talk about
I'm
your
scared.
past and
you talk about why you're not being authentic. You talk about
I've had to not say anything about my life.
I don't know how to be the way I am now. I don't know how to do what I'm trying to do. You can say all kinds of things that are authentic.
But you would still feel like you were lying, because when the core truth is that big and the lie is that big, I mean, I feel like he's bursting at the seams to some degree to talk about Abu Nuzir. I mean, I think he had this plan and this out in terms of the vest, and then after that, he's just been flying. He's been not knowing which end is up.
Clearly, yeah. But I still think that it would have been. For me, it would have been a much more interesting scene if he had tried to say something authentic and either not been able to, her being able to sniff it out, whatever, but to just walk away. It was like, what? That's it? I was pissed. I'm going, come on. Give me the damn scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of did too. I kind of wanted to see. Although, I mean, it was definitely a strong dramatic choice to have him say and start throwing stuff in the bag. But I kind of wanted to see them fight it out a little bit.
I mean, listen, he's not even really been able to consummate fully in a normal way that's not totally creepy. Like this, he's not been able to sleep with her in a way that's not totally creepy.
Right. No, I agree.
He does not feel connected to this woman. He does not feel because the reason is he does not feel connected to the man that married this woman and that had kids with her.
Yeah.
So
he's not that man.
Because he's not that man. So imagine being constantly smacked in the face with this constant reminder that you're living a lie.
Yeah.
I would want to get away from that too, no matter how gorgeous
No
it is.
question.
Yes, true.
Yeah.
Man,
No
yeah.
question.
Thaddeus is
But,
like,
you know, if you're playing the long game, I still think that,
Make it
come
work.
on, you give some effort.
I don't think he's playing any game.
Well,
I honestly think he's playing the day-by-day game.
He's on
Even
survival
still,
mode
I
now.
mean, I would think that, I just think it would have been a much more interesting scene. Would have far more conflicted. It would have been a better heightened thing. It was like, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
you
were
just kinda
saving
go.
it all for the last 5
Well,
minutes.
that's the thing, and I have to say that's the thing that kind of bothered me about
That's
this
most
episode.
guys.
Is that he's like, they waited till the last 5 minutes, and I was going, really?
I mean, I actually really, those last 5 minutes were amazing, but I liked a lot of the elements previous. What are you two doing?
Because we said saving it all for the last 5 minutes, and Thaddeus is like all guys. And I just,
And then you
set me
said,
off since then.
you said last 5 minutes were amazing. See, that's all that
Yeah, I
matters.
know, and then
Because
that's
that's what you're going to remember when you leave.
We're like children.
On the
Thaddeus
walkie.
and I,
I
that's
guess, yeah.
We're like children. We can't help it. We're
We
like,
can't even
"It's a sex
separate them because
joke."
they're.
They're already separated.
I know that's my point. We can't separate
We're
them.
the furthest people away
I
from each
know.
other at the table. It doesn't matter.
So yeah, no,
got
I
this
would,
thing, we know.
I appreciate those episodes that have a little bit more
Goodness.
variance. I mean, because it was kind of like this one thing until the end, and I was like, it was a great ending, and I liked the episode. I just wish it had more stuff in the middle and in the beginning.
I felt tension. I felt tension with Peter because I really didn't know what he was
Yeah,
up to.
yeah,
I really kept being afraid he was going to screw her over.
Yeah,
I didn't feel that.
Yeah, I'm still. I'll be really interested. Like because you wonder sometimes. And this is something somebody said to me at the end of the first season. Like, is this going to be a 24 thing? Like, is the big bad who is Brody going to disappear and then we bring someone else in?
Right.
But having a new character like Peter come in, where you really don't know who he is or what he's about, I think it's a really interesting thing to have him come in, and I like him. And so if Brody leaves, at least they're introducing. Well, I can't speak now. My brain's just still melty from that. Introducing new characters that I like and who are really interesting.
It has to be gradual if they do it because
Yeah.
this character, the Brody character, is so monumental. I mean,
Well, what about all the other characters that we've invested in too?
I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's the center of attention, even though he, the head of the snake is Abu Nazir. As far as the show is concerned, everything is circulated around Brody's. This character, Brody's character.
Yeah, that's why I think they may use him and have him go in and try to sniff something out, because I mean if they're just gonna torture him or do whatever they're gonna do to get the information out of him.
Torture him.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean if that's all they're gonna do, then I mean it's sort of done. Like there's nowhere to go with that.
Right.
If they make him go back in and pose the way he's been going, then.
So he's like a triple agent at this point. And
Yeah.
he doesn't
Yeah,
even
pretty
know what ends is up. I think that one thing that would be interesting is to start to see a little bit more of Abu Nazir, actually. Because, I
Yeah.
mean, the only times that we've seen Abu Nazir has been through Brody's point of view. And I think it might be interesting to get a little bit more into that character and see what he's all about.
Because
That
of
would be
what could
great.
possibly turn the mind of a Marine.
Yeah.
So you got to think it had to be some pretty convincing propaganda.
Yeah.
I think it's funny what people on the show notice. I'm on Twitter, and Claire O'Connor. Hi, Claire. She's at Claire_OC. She says, if the CIA are using Lenovo, or is how you say those laptops? Is that how you say it? Lenovo or Lenovo?
I have
If
no
the
idea.
CIA are using Lenovo laptops, our problems are bigger than I thought. Because the room that they set up, you
Yeah.
can see the
Yeah,
Lenovo
Lenovo.
laptops, and
Yep.
it was hilarious. And I actually noticed it too, but I was like,
I think
that was a nice little
really
product
more
placement.
than that. I
plug
think
right
it's
there.
just product placement.
Right,
So,
but that's
obviously
so
they-
for somebody to notice that, she's like, "Oh, that's the equipment we're using. Then our problems are bigger than."
Well, that's what was it they said last week about the software that was opening up so quickly? Somebody else said-
Oh, yeah.
The Windows file.
The Windows, yeah,
Right,
you know
right,
it's
that
fake.
You know
There
it's
you go.
fake because
Yeah.
the Windows files never open that quickly.
No, they don't.
No, they do. Although we do have to point out, because Jenna and I kept chastising ourselves for calling it a tape. Saul called it a tape tonight.
Yes, he did.
Yes. Said he
made a
Recording.
tape.
Yes, that actually made me feel
Well,
less
we've already got into some predictions. We should talk about. Jenna, would you do me a favor and just talk about the fall schedule for AfterBuzz TV, and then we'll get to our predictions.
Yeah, we've got what, 50 shows now?
50
Yeah.
shows a week now.
Unbelievable. And I don't have the exact numbers on downloads, but you guys
Over
you guys-
1.5.
It's really
Million.
amazing. 1.5 1.5 million downloads. It's a week. That's ridiculous.
11 million. 11 million
a week?
A week. 1.5.
I beg your pardon. Thank you, Marissa.
Thanks,
Marissa. That's a big difference, actually.
Yeah,
I meant to say a day. It was
but still, I mean, it's unbelievable. Like, I just did a Doctor Who show before this that Roth is on, and we've got so many cool shows. I know Happy Endings is coming up.
Yep.
Yeah.
So many good ones. So, guys,
Vegas Tuesday nights.
Yeah,
that is.
Vegas, Dennis Quaid, Michael Chiklis.
So yeah, I mean, you guys make sure if you love a show, the likelihood is we're doing an after show, and if we're not, send in requests. Tell us what you want to see us do, because we love doing it.
Yeah,
we sure do.
All right, let's get to our predictions.
We love doing the show too, actually.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
When do they start torturing him?
Immediately.
Where do they send him?
I don't think that he's going to get sent to Guantanamo.
So we keep him on American soil?
Yeah, I think he's going to be local in a basement somewhere unsavory that we would never want to go to. And I don't think that they're going to physically torture him just yet, though. But I think they are going to start mind games rapidly.
Enhanced interrogation.
Yeah, you know, which is basically what happened to him. And I think there may be some cross-cutting with what happened to him previously when he was incarcerated.
Yeah, because in a way it does make him not sympathetic, but more, you sort of understand him more. And I think that was something they did really well in the first season, seeing everything that he went through. You're like, okay, I get it. I mean, I don't get it. The bomb was it makes a little more sense. And I think it's really, really well done. I think also keeping him, like, they're playing a game with time, so they kind of have to, because the longer he's away from his wife and the longer the congressman is not in the building with the vice president and all of this stuff is happening, like, people are noticing. And just as we saw in the previews, you know, Jessica saying, like, the kids are freaked out, and honestly, I am too. So, what was it, 4 days, I think they were saying? We haven't heard from you in 4 days.
4 days, so they're going to have to turn him back fast.
Right. And I think in a way that's part of the reason we didn't get that scene between Brody and Jessica, because he had to leave. They couldn't work it out. Yeah, I mean, he had to leave.
He was gonna. The scene was he was gonna have to leave no matter what.
Yeah.
I just wanted a better
I know, I did
scene.
too. But I mean, I think like that had to be set up so that there's a reason for him to be gone, and everyone knows he's gone.
It looks like they are torturing him a little bit based on looking at the shows coming up. He was bandaged.
He was bandaged,
So they're gonna have to rough him up just a little bit, but not too much if they want to install him back and use them for their.
So we get to see how we like our torture, don't like theirs. We get to make that connection.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're gonna find out.
That's gonna be good next week.
We torture better. American-made torture, baby. Torture made in the U.S.
Right.
Take pictures and put it on the internet.
All right, let everybody know where they can find you.
I'm at JRothC on Twitter. That's JROTHC. Did I spell that right?
Yes.
Yes,
you did.
Yeah.
All right, you can find me at Jenna Bush, BUSCH, like the beer, not the president. You can check out my show with Stan Lee, Cocktails with Stan, on YouTube, and my writing is on fanhattan.com.
Oh, I'm at AMC Theaters. I should say that too.
You can catch me at Club Thaddeus, CLUBTHADDEUS, Vegas, after show at 11 p.m. on Tuesdays.
You can catch me here next week at 8 o'clock.
All
right. The next installment of Homeland. That's the only place you're ever going to find me. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We want to welcome you next week. And on behalf of Jenna Bush, Roth Cornett, Thaddeus Masley, and Marissa Serafini in the booth, this is John Comerford saying thank you.
Thank you.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.